Just like all good YouTube shows, video game series also must come to an end. But some of them should be rebooted.
Let's go! I just said let's go.
Let's go.
I'm off my game, but we got to get back on it.
Yep.
Because this is episode 799. 799, right?
Wow, yeah.
That's right, because our last is our Let's Play Classics, episode 800.
Whew.
We are about to die, and someday we'll be rebooted into a beautiful butterfly of something. We don't know exactly what.
Right.
But we're talking about Nintendo games that need to be cocooned.
That's true.
They are cocooned.
We're about to become very lazy caterpillars.
Basically,
Okay,
yeah. We're
sounds
going to
good.
go cocoon.
Good plan.
These game series are cocooning. They're being lazy, and we need to have them rebooted.
Yes. And it also could be the fact that they have come out recently, but they need to get some work done.
Yeah, they need to reimagine some things.
I really think that 2D Mario games need a reboot because we've had new Super Mario Bros. Games for like 15 years now. It's not new anymore.
Has it really been that long? It has, hasn't it?
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
The DS game was 2004. So,
oh my goodness.
The art style is really overstayed its welcome. And you get these glimpses of like beautiful Mario graphics. In like New Super Mario Bros. U, there's that painterly stage that looks like Starry Night painting. Did you never see that?
I've never played Super Mario Bros. U.
Oh, you're missing out. I'm glad it's coming back to Switch.
That's right.
But after New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, I do think they should go in a different direction with the series.
I agree.
It could be a lot more compelling if they just put some more creativity into it. And, like, they should totally expand on that and have a, journey through different painters' art styles.
That would be really cool.
I'm serious.
Super Mario Paint.
Yeah. Is that a game?
Oh,
Mario Paint.
Super. Just throw super in front of it.
Yeah.
Do you know
Gaming?
what... Yes, that
No.
also. No. Do you know what franchise hasn't had enough reboots? Star Fox.
Yeah.
I put this in here as a joke, but I mean... Let's go over the reboots and rethinks that the series has had. Okay, so we have original SNES game.
Yes.
And then that got a sequel eventually released,
which is
20-some years later.
Nothing really like it.
27 years later, something like that, or more.
That's about right.
Yeah, 27 years, I think. Then you got Star Fox 64.
Remake of the original.
And then that continued on for a while. And then you got to Star Fox Command, which had a bunch of different weird branching paths that you could not make a sequel to.
Yeah.
They basically killed everything, right, at Star Fox Command.
Did you skip the GameCube ones? Because Adventures is kind of like a reboot.
It kind of is. They rebooted the style, but I think it was a continuing of the story.
Wow.
I'm talking like storyline.
Sure.
I guess it continues from 64 and Assault from there, and then Assault goes into Command, and then they go to Command is horrible
so you're
game.
just talking story.
I'm just talking story.
Okay.
But also, if we're going to talk game styles, that too. You can just see that all throughout. And then you have the reboot with Star Fox Zero, which apparently they're not going to continue. Now you have Starlink, which is not a Star Fox game. But it is a Star Fox game because apparently now they don't even care about the story. I just wanted to rant about that. I put Star Fox in here as a joke.
What do you think they should do with it?
I don't know. I think that they could... I don't know. Because here's the thing. With Star Fox Zero, they tried something new with the controls, with the gameplay style that was popular back then.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if they were to just straight up release more of the same gameplay style that they had back in the 64 days, if it would go over well, people would think that, it's just basic. It's just the same old stuff. So, I don't know.
I wonder if it's a series
I really don't know.
kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog. Star Fox is probably Nintendo's most Sonic-y game, where it just doesn't really age that well. It's good for its time, and maybe the formula just doesn't enter with us into the new century.
I actually think that Sonic aged well, but that's just me.
Fob you.
But yeah, I think that maybe they need to make Star Fox Assault 2, but that's definitely not going to happen.
Star Fox Assault 2.
That would be so good.
I will eat a living larva if Star Fox Assault 2 ever is announced.
I will too, but I will do it with a smile on my face because that would be great.
All right, we need a reboot for Paper Bombing Mario because they put out 2 fantastic games on the N64 and the GameCube. The perfect formula, the perfect gameplay. You don't need to change RPGs. Okay? Once you got it figured out, you just make more of them. Right?
Yep, I agree.
And
I mean, that's just me, but I agree.
I even enjoyed the Wii one.
Super Paper Mario.
Yep.
I really, really like that one.
It had a great gimmick that was well implemented in gameplay and didn't have any controls that were too crazy. It was cool. You're playing with the Wii remote sideways. You can point it at the TV anytime you want to learn more about something with Tattle or whatever. They're all the same.
Tippy.
They're all the same thing.
And Tiptron.
And
Tiptoe.
These days, Paper Mario is
and
just...
Tipsy.
It's sad. Like, they went super wrong. Miyamoto got the wrong idea in his head and mandated that developers don't focus on storyline or characters. And now there's always like this gameplay
Stupid
mechanic
gimmick.
that's a crutch. It's like you have a paint bucket flying in the air behind you, and that's what the whole game is about. It's like, we don't need that.
No. So, something that, I mean, when we're talking about games, I think we have to have a reason why we reboot it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's kind of been, with the last 3 we've talked about, it's gotten stale or they've gotten off on the wrong path.
Yeah.
Another reason to reboot a series is that it's just too complicated. And by rebooting it, you can bring in new people without having to go back and explain the story of what's happened before.
Yeah.
And do you know what is super way too overly complicated?
Legend of Starfy?
Yes. Absolutely need a reboot of that. No. Sin and punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Sin is
first
very
of all,
complicated.
yes, sin is very complicated. Punishment can be very complicated.
Yeah. Sorry. Can I just keep derailing you?
Yes.
Yoshi's story.
We did not get the first game here in America. It was on N64, but people raved about the gameplay. They're like, let's bring it to the US. They brought it to the US. The gameplay was great.
Mm-hmm.
The storyline is literally the most convoluted. I don't know if it helps to know the previous game's story. I think it does a little bit, but not by much. It's way too complicated. We didn't get the first game. The second game was a sequel. It wasn't a reboot. We just need that gameplay, which is great, in a new game with actually good storytelling and not hair that looks like it was rendered in the N64 days and just literally plopped over sideways as a helmet head on the character. It looks terrible.
Yeah. This one would be HD.
Oh, gosh. Guys, that game plays so well, but it's so bad. Sin and Punishment Star Successor is a game that goes down in TBC infamy as one of our most frustrating experiences.
My blood is on fire! That's what looking at that game's hair makes me say. You know,
I agree.
What you just made me think of, what would be awesome is an N64 classic from Japan with Sin and Punishment on there, Animal Crossing on there, and the custom Robo game we never got.
That's true.
That'd be so cool. I'm sure there's more I'm not even thinking of.
Mother 3.
Yeah.
Right? That was an N64 game,
Don't ask me
right?
that question.
pardon my ignorance. I'm not an RPG person. I'm not a Mother fan. So pardon my ignorance if I totally got that wrong.
Yeah, and you're not Japanese.
I'm not.
You're not an N64 person either, so that's really not our area of expertise.
Yeah.
Moving on. What is our area of expertise is Metroid. I do think Metroid could use a reboot. Now, I'm very glad that Metroid Prime 4 is coming out, and I'm not asking for that to be canceled. But I do think a new long-term direction is needed for the series, because it seems like every game is made by a different developer, and the storyline is unfortunately not that good. Kind of the same things happen every game, and then the same types of things happen in every game. If it's not Adam, it's a computer named Adam, you know. And it's just not realistic to think that an actual Samus has fought and killed and been scared by seeing Ridley 70 times. You know, with the... Nintendo does this. It's their repetitive storytelling. With Zelda, it actually makes sense. It's reincarnated characters in a lot of cases that aren't doing the same exact thing over and over again. But Samus has got to feel like she's trapped in Groundhog's Day or something.
Yeah. Which I literally just watched that movie today.
For the first time?
No, this is the second time
Oh.
I've seen it. I haven't seen it in like 13 years.
Congratulations.
I can't believe that you brought that up. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if I agree with you on this one.
But doesn't the series need a direction?
It needs a direction and it needs clarification.
Because right now the series isn't a series. It's just game here, game there. This one fails for that different reason.
Agree with you, but I don't think that requires a reboot. I actually like the story. It is convoluted and it needs some explaining.
Yeah.
And maybe even some throwing out of Metroid Other M from the canon.
Yeah.
Which would be really, really sad.
Yeah.
It needs some explanation and it needs some direction, but it doesn't need a reboot, I don't think.
You want to take your Wii disc and shoot it out of a cannon? Is that what you just said?
Yep.
Even my own co-host hates me. All right, what's yours?
Okay, mine is actually, I think you gave me this one, but I agree with you. Did you give me this one? Or did I think of this? I think you gave it to me.
I did.
Okay, I agree with you anyway, though. Custom Robo.
There's a blank bullet there. I couldn't help it.
Custom Robo needs a reboot. It just does. We have the GameCube game and we have the DS game here in the U.S. Like you said, we didn't get the N64 Custom Robo game. Mm-hmm. Custom Robo is, I think, one of those games that people don't think of when they think of Nintendo. They don't, unless they're specifically thinking about the GameCube.
Yeah.
And it's a first-party game. It's great. It has a great story, had great gameplay. The DS one was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. I think that it needs to come back. Maybe a reboot, maybe sequel, but we need to see more of it.
Yeah, reboot in the sense that they need to start making them again.
Reboot in the sense that they need to start making it with people who haven't played the other ones in mind.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's the main thing for a lot of these is, especially with Metroid, Sin and Punishment, and Custom Robo. These franchises are so spread out. Mm-hmm. And if they're going to get new people, which they need new faces for, I think, all three of these, if they're going to do them, they need to explain things in a way that new people are going to grasp onto.
Yep. There you go. That's the last thinking we will ever do. Now
yes, no more thinking, no more thought for Two Button Crew. Button mashes only.
Play some video games. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the crew.
Don't sponsor us on Patreon because we are not going to be accepting money from our patrons anymore. But our patrons do get an exclusive live show for the last 2 weeks of this month. And they get some really cool stuff as far as personal interaction that the rest of you guys don't get. And that's just an incentive when we come back for you to become a patron.
See you guys next episode 800.
Signing out.